Hello everyone and welcome to the Anvils of Conor YouTube page. On today's video I will be doing an unboxing of the Dark Angels Primarch Lionel Johnson from the 40k range. This arrived after ordering it a few months ago from Element Games. I know there are a few issues with the distribution and availability of these, despite despite a load of influencers getting them and potentially not even painting them up, but that is something else entirely. But I am planning for my Patreon to do a very long multi-part tutorial where I'll be taking this chap and I'll be mixing him with the resin 30k Lionel Johnson to create something really unique and dynamic with nice throwbacks to the 30k model. So primarily it will be made for 30k, but using some different bits and pieces from each model. So please head on over to my Patreon and sign up if that's something that you're interested in. But yeah, so I thought take a closer look. It may not be the first unboxing by any means. In fact, I can guarantee that. And it may well not be the last, but it is my take on the contents of this wonderful kit. So when it was previewed many months ago now, I really was taken aback by it. So some wonderful details on the model. Right, some of which I just won't need at all. So let's go through it bit by bit, shall we? So plastics are generally a lot more popular than resin. I actually prefer working with resin for a few different reasons. Namely the use of things like saws like this. If you use that on resin, you don't burn the resin or scorch it or anything like that. And then using my beloved Dremel here, you can go to very high revs with the Dremel on resin, and though it will warm it and warp it, you can very easily bring it back into shape using hot water or a hairdryer. Whereas with plastic, it will melt. It just will melt. That's no two ways about it. So you have to be very careful with the use of a Dremel around plastic. Naturally, you'd need to wear something like a mask with either one. So we've got the build instructions here. I'm sure that you can find these on Reddit and things like that. Google images. You've got plenty going on here. I will probably be sacking off the base and going for something a little bit more individual. So this part here, it looks like you have the backpack assembly, shoulder pads, the cloak and back of Lionel Johnson, and then the famed watches in the dark. So which played a big part in the history of the Dark Angels. So they are sort of, what do you call them? Sentinels on Caliban, I believe, tasked with keeping the evil at bay, because Caliban is actually a demon-infested world. So yeah, interesting stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty on Lexicanum and things like that online. So the backpack, I will almost definitely be using the 30k backpack. Again, it's just far more in line with the aesthetic of 30k and the Horus Heresy. I'm not saying that this isn't bad at all. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. Really good attention to detail here. But there we go. So we've got the sort of gorget with that little padding at the back there. They've become quite obsessed with the comfort of the Space Marine neck. Certainly, if you look at the Praetor models from the Age of Darkness box, they've got all sorts of lovely padded collar work there. So you've got, I think this is must be an armor piece. In fact, let's look at the box. That will give us a clue. So yeah, I think that is a groin plate, that little one there. So yeah, lovely rivets, fantastic for painting. I'm not saying I will paint this up. I might make it a surprise for Patreon, I'm not sure. But yeah, you've got those lovely Watcher models there. Great detail. So you've got a sensor, you've got a guy holding the scabbard of the lion's sword. Please comment in the comment below rather if you know the name of the sword. I think he's got a couple. So a massive chain sword and a power sword. So you've got the shoulder pads here. Now this one would actually be pretty good in line with the 30k model, especially since you have the Dark Angel symbol there. This one here, even though it's in line with the moniker, the lion, for Lionel Johnson, it's a little bit too Age of Sigmar in my opinion. So definitely wouldn't be using that. And then the cloak, absolutely wonderful. So as I'll be mostly using the body of the plastic, I expect I'll be keeping that cloak all together. All right. So you've got the back of the lion there. His leg assemblies too. So you have details on the side. So it's obviously primaricized. So I'll be doing away with those and adding some details, some knightly details. That's a little sort of tilt shield there. That looks great. Again, that would work very nicely. I'd probably do away with the purity seal. And then you have the greave details. Again, these are all marvelous, but would probably take away anything in relief with a hobby knife, just to keep it nice and plain. So I'm not saying that these aren't great, but I think sometimes when you take away the detail and you can really see the stark silhouette of the armor, I think it looks absolutely great. So you've got massive winged helm here and a few head options. So a lot of people say that he looks a lot like Charles Dance. I'm not going to disagree with that at all, but these options are really nice. Okay, so again, you've got the super knightly one here without those wings, the sort of mysterious man with a cloaked head there, and then full on Tywin Lannister there. So I really like that when they make these kits, they give you plenty of options. So now for the base, now I'm not sure what they may be doing here is making it look a little bit like the ruins of the Rock or a sort of monastery style situation. It's a lovely base, very, very nice. Gives them a huge amount of elevation, which means that in line with the watches on the base as well, and the details that they're holding, he obviously stands well above them and is the focal point of the base, as well he should be, being one of the 18 Primarchs, and one of the only ones to have been summoned back in the hour of the Imperium's greatest need, to fight alongside his brother Rubute Gilliman. So yeah, rather cool. I do quite like the plastic Primarch models from the 40k range. I think that inarguably the resin ones are nicer, but again, whatever floats your boat, I think the plastic ones are probably a little bit more accessible in terms of cost and a little bit easier to manufacture to build. So right, so we have another watcher here holding this cheeky staff. Now I'm sure if I were a Dark Angel player, that would make a rather nice Crozius Arcanum for a chaplain. That would look quite cool. I suppose it's just a rod of office, just a ceremonial thing he's bringing along, just in case Lionel needs to ditch the sword and become a bit more of a statesman. Not that that's something that he's particularly well known for, especially being so full of mystery. He's not too well versed in statecraft like his brother Rubute, or certainly Sanguinius, RIP. So you got the Emperor's Shield there. That's a pretty impressive piece of kit. I don't think I'll ever find a need for this, but it'll probably sit in my bits box, waiting for the right moment. So I think some people have actually used this in conversions of the Emperor, which is quite cool. You've got the chest there. Very, very cool. Lovely belt details with those skulls. And that, I believe, is a nice tie-in of the 30k model. So they've definitely consulted the 30k model, also with the sword. It's just an absolutely incredible piece of kit, really, really nice. So I think I'll be keeping those on this model for sure. Whether or not I remove the winged sword detail on the chest, just to make it a little bit starker, to make those details that I do keep, like the lion pelt or the beast pelt. So very famous thing about the lion, when he awoke on Caliban, obviously in the middle of the forest, You had all sorts of warp-infested demons and they didn't know they were demons at the time, but monsters. And he led multiple crusades across Caliban with the knightly orders to completely remove their taint from the lands of Caliban, so the humans could sort of get on with it, really, which is great. So that's a bit more of the base detail there. Again, that hooded skeleton holding a sword with those wings there, very stylized. Again, makes me think that this base is, part of the rock. I mean, I actually don't know the history at the moment with 40k, so I'm sure you could correct me in the comments below. All right, and then you've got a sort of iron halo thing. Whether or not I'll be using that, I'm not entirely sure. And then just other little shields and bits and pieces. I think that's probably part of his van brace, actually, for his arm. I think that would be on the back there. But yeah, so really, really impressive kit. And you've got that holstered gun. Very cool. So again, not entirely sure what that piece of war gear is called. Again, leave in the comments below. I do like Dark Angels as a legion. I think they're very, very cool. If I were to do a different one other than obviously Death Guard and my slowly growing sort of small Ultramarines force, I think Dark Angels would be the way to go. But you've got an awful lot of examples out there on Instagram and social media where people have done them an amazing service with their conversions and paint jobs. So yeah, there we go, guys. So just a very quick unboxing video, just shown in some detail the lion and his little amigos, his little 3 amigos. Just giving you some reverse details there as well. And it's great when you probably won't even ever see the back of this little plate, but you've got the little cabling there. So obviously it will have some sort of force field built into it or something along those lines. But yeah, there we go. So it'll be interesting to see if I can preserve the scabbard or whether I'll just use the one from 30k. Like I said, do sign up to the Patreon if you're interested. Like the video, leave a comment below if you have any feedback or want to give me any of the information that I was missing in terms of the background of Lionel Johnson and the First Legion, the Dark Angels. Yeah, so like, subscribe, all that kind of jazz. Thanks for watching. If there's any other unboxings that you think I'd do quite a good job with, do let me know. So I'm always looking for feedback and suggestions. Thanks again. Bye-bye.